Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I'm very sorry if this review or recap on the Steins Gate Fuka Ryouiki no Deja Vu has come a little late, or you could call it the Steins Gate movie, whatever you feel like calling, When I looked at this movie right now, I didn't know what to think. Some people told me it was okay, that kind of thing. But when I decided to take a look at it, I thought it came out alright, as well. But I think it could have come out a little better, but I think it did. I think it did what it needed to do with a couple things here and there. So if anything else, I like to get started right away, and let's just go. All right. Okay. At the beginning of the movie, we have to it that it's just a crazy daily life. Okabe being all like mad scientist mode and so forth, and on the other hand, Mayuri and Ruka decides to go pick up Kirisu, and later on she comes on by, and later on, and when they end up meeting when she ends up meeting Okabe, he becomes the same old crazy mad scientist as always, that we always remember. But later on, they end up having a barbecue for some time, and Kirisu ends up being a little drunk, but not before Okabe ends up having these weirdo memories or visions that he has from the very beginning, very beginning. If you guys watched the Steins Gate series, which I know I did, he ends up having these memories coming back, and apparently it's been bothering him a lot lately, and he thought Mayuri might be killed again, but that was not the case. Eventually, as time continues on, I think Kurisu there was a certain stalker or something that's being involved, but eventually, as time continues on, we have to it that Kurisu was taking a shower in her hotel, but eventually, as events continued on, this person somehow entered her room, which I already knew who it was due to the voice. She told her phone, microwave, and CERN. Remember those words, and things will go easy for you, that kind of thing. But eventually, as time continues on, things were not looking so well, Well, Makase Kurisu ends up meeting Okabe at the laundromat, and have a little small talk here and there, about a couple things that's coming from different world lines and so forth, time machine, CERN, different organizations, and this somewhat bothered Kurisu, and later on Kurisu and Kyoma or Okabe ends up talking to each other, but later on when she was about to say something, he somehow ends up disappearing. And later on, Kurisu was freaking out right now, going whoa, what's going on here, And ends up running to in the lab and ask Daru and Mayuri if they remember this certain person, but they go I don't know. They go what are you talking about exactly, And later on, Kurisu just continues some strange old life in the lab, and so forth. But eventually, as the movie continues, things got a little out of hand when she decides to do a time leap, which is not something which was created during the movie somehow, and later on she ends up seeing Okabe there, and before she could talk to Okabe, she ends up getting a cell phone call from someone, and therefore she ends up and that person was calling her on the building, and they end up talking to each other on a certain location on the bridge, and therefore it was Amane Suzuha, which I had a feeling because her voice was pretty similar. And when Amane tells her one thing, she tells her the reason why Okabe disappeared is because these certain memories from different world lines are clouding up his reading Steiner's ability. Eventually he's gonna end up leaping through here and there, and things were not looking so good, And therefore Okabe appeared before he disappeared anyway the next day and says, what just happened, And therefore it wasn't looking so good, as Okabe's mind and brain is starting to overload because of all these memories and so forth, That has been bothering him ever since around the beginning of the movie. And therefore, we have to it that Kurisu tries to help him out, And Okabe warns her, you cannot do the time leap or any time machine, okay? Because things are going to look bad and ugly and so forth. And do you even understand that going back and trying to repeat it's not going to change or anything? And he's referring this to the anime series, If you guys watch the series or something, you guys know what I'm talking about. He's been going back and forth and tried to change it, but it never works out. And therefore, Kurisu, on the other hand, tries to talk to him, and therefore Okabe tells her to fulfill his wish for him, just fulfill a certain wish that's like forget about me, that kind of thing. Eventually, things will change, and I want you to live in peace. And Makise Kurisu's like, what am I supposed to do, huh? And therefore, after a couple words of worries and disarguments, here and there, Kurisu gets a kiss from Okabe and says, sorry to make things a little worse for you. But the next day, when it came again, Makise Kurisu cannot forget Okabe, and she tries to run to him at the lab, and he disappears. And therefore, she ends up having this very sad feeling inside her, and she cannot forget about him, which is understandable. Eventually, as time continues on, we have to it that things were still like looking pretty ugly for her at a certain case, here and there. But Kurisu decides to accept it. But eventually, even with Okabe not being around, the lab that they used to be in is about to be shut down due to the fact of rent and so forth, and it was actually looking pretty bad right here and there. And therefore, things were still looking pretty ugly here and there, And as time continues on, Kurisu was just living out her life, even without Okabe. And therefore, Amane Suzuha decides to ask her a couple questions here and there, And Kurisu just answered them like, not very truthfully. And Amane slaps some sense out of her and says, what the hell's wrong with you? Do what you gotta do. Why are you doing this? Etc., etc., etc. And therefore, Kurisu's like, what do you want me to do, huh? And therefore, Amane gives her a chance to make a change. Implant a powerful memory into his brain and into the certain pastime in his brain, and therefore it could work out. And therefore Makise Kurisu remembers a couple words what Mayuri says, and therefore she decides to try to go back in 2005 and talk to him, But apparently the first time around did not look out so good, because she apparently fell in the middle of the street, and Okabe protected her, and he gets run over or hit by a truck. Which really stinks. And Kurisu was very reluctant about doing this again, But eventually, as time continues on, when everyone else seems to be hanging out and doing their thing, in terms of in the lab where Faris-chan ends up facing Daru, where Okabe didn't exist, they end up remembering a person, there was one more, Even they can't forget about him. Even Mayuri Setsu, Ruka, and after that, yeah, when everyone reunited, and therefore, Kurisu ends up playing the persona of Hoan Kyoma whatsoever. And I'm thinking about my dear Lord, that's pretty, something you can't forget, And Kurisu-chan made a decision to go back to the year 2005 and try again, And therefore, we have to it that she went back in the past, and after thinking about herself, seeing that she always been independent and doing things herself, and no wonder how her father hated her so much, And she sits by a certain train waiting post, and therefore Okabe at the younger age, at the year 2005, talks to her and says, all alone? Well, that goes with me too, Because yada yada yada, He ends up telling her I have a friend that's almost sad, I just don't know what to do. And therefore, Kurisu decides to implant a memory to him, you remember a person named Hoan Kyoma? And therefore she tells him how foolish he was, how crazy and mad scientist he calls himself, Everyone makes a fool out of him here and there, and it was kind of sad and so forth. The Okabe, the one who's destined to become Hoan Kyoma, which is in year 2005, said the story was sad, but Makise Kurisu tells him again, no, not exactly, but right now, he did something to protect a lot of people, And therefore, she gives him a kiss and tells him to go do what you gotta do, and therefore he decides to go cheer up Mayuri and says, you're gonna be my hostage, at her grave, at Mayuri's grandma's grave, that kind of thing, and Therefore, everything went back to normal, but not before Okabe was sitting in the middle of the road after that implanted memory in 2005, and Kurisu tells him a couple things about you're not by yourself here and there, and people always end up remembering you, you know? It's not how it's going to begin. It's a yada, yada, yada. And therefore, Okabe decides to smile, puts up his phone in his ear, and asks Makase Kurisu, will you give me back my first kiss? And she goes like, never. And I'm thinking in my mind, and it ends up there. I go like, God dang it. Wow. Pretty cool movie, you know. I mean, like, I'm sorry if I was not very, very detailed, you know. I'm just getting to like some simple points and facts the way I look at it. But hey, I still have my fun here and there, despite a couple things. And there's some development with Makase Kurisu, you know, and so forth. It's too bad the movie had to end off like that with Makase and Kyoma or Okabe having the backs turned away from each other, and Makase Kurisu's like, I'm never returning your first kiss whatsoever, you know. That kind of thing, which is pretty funny, you know. So yeah, pretty cool movie. I was thinking about giving it 7 out of 10, but I think it earned an 8 out of 10 for me, or possibly above. I don't know. It depends how I'm supposed to look into it, you know. But yeah, still pretty cool, you know. I know there might be a lot of problems in this movie here and there, but yeah, let's just say like I didn't notice it as well because like maybe because the movie is so long, like to me I just don't really pay attention very well, you know, that kind of thing. But I still have my enjoyment here and there. So I'll give it 8 out of 10, you know. As for the Steins Gate series as a whole, I think it earned at least a 9.5 overall, you know, with the anime series, with the OVA or 25th episode along with the movie. I think it earned a 9.5. I heard about Steins Gate 0 pretty much, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I read up some information on Steins Gate 0 and it's gonna be pretty crazy. Now I really look forward to it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think like it's gonna like fill in of what it needs to fill in, like in that certain gap or something, you know. So until then, I'll see you guys in my next video or so. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Toot-toot-oo!